بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على خاتم النبيين سيدنا ونبينا ورسولنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم. محمد أشرف الأعراب والعجم محمد خير من يمشي على قدم محمد ذكره روح لأنفسنا محمد شكره فرض على الأمم محمد خير خلق الله من مضر محمد خاتم للرسل كلهم محمد زينة الدنيا وبهجتها محمد كاشف الغمات والظلم محمد قائم لله ذو همم محمد خاتم للرسل كلهم صلى الله تعالى عليه وصحبه وسلم. As we know right now in the world, there's a lot of harb, there's a lot of wars, there's a lot of distress, there's a lot of difficulties. So as Muslims, we should look at what our response should be towards this. What should our reaction be towards such distressing images, such difficulties, such calamities in the world right now? Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sahbihi wa sallam in part of a hadith mentioned مَثَلُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ فِي تَوَدِّهِمْ وَتَرَاحُمِهِمْ وَتَعَاطُفِهِمْ مَثَلُ الْجَسَدِ, that the Muslims, the believers, in terms of their compassion for one another, in terms of their mercy for one another, in terms of their connection to one another, is like the example of the body. That if one part of the body becomes injured, if one part of the body feels pain, the entire body responds with sleeplessness and fever. If one part of our body becomes injured, then our entire body begins to feel the pain of this. This should be our response to such circumstances when we become aware of these distressing images, of these difficulties. This should be our response to this. We should feel some difficulty in our hearts. We should feel some sadness in our hearts, whereby we learn of the difficulties of our Muslim brothers, sisters and children. We should also feel this pain. And now it becomes incumbent upon us, it becomes necessary upon us to benefit these Muslims in any way that we can. In any way that we can, we should try to respond to them and respond to their call, and in any way that we are able to, according to our istita'a, according to our own capability, we should try to support these people, whether it be through financial aid, whether it be through even our aqwal, even through our statements, whether it be through physical help, whether it be through providing any physical assistance, providing food, providing shelter, or at least, the very least, everyone should be making dua. This is the very, very least. All of us are very well aware of what's happening in Palestine. All of us are very well aware of what happened in Lebanon. Even before this, what's happening in Yemen, in Burma, in Kashmir, in these sort of places. We know the difficulties that the Muslims are undergoing. So now we should all do muhasabah, we should all ask ourselves one by one individually, what is my own individual outcome to this situation? How much effort am I making? Have I provided any financial help as much as I can? We know the fadail of giving sadaqah the way of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. In a summary, Sayyiduna Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam mentioned that give sadaqah early in the morning, because calamities do not come in front of your sadaqah. If you want calamities to go away, one way we can remove calamities is by giving sadaqah in the way of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. Also, Sayyiduna Rasulullah, the final prophet of Allah, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that every man will be underneath the shade of his sadaqah on the day of judgment. A man who will be underneath the shade of the sadaqah that he gave in this world on the day of judgment. This will be a means of protection for him. This will be a means of shade for him from the blazing sun on that day, inshaAllah. Also, Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam said, perform the ilaj, the treatment of your ill ones through the means of sadaqah. If you have anyone who's unwell, sometimes you have people who are very, very unwell. Maybe they have, terminal cancer. Maybe they have extreme illnesses. Maybe they have an illness, such a problem, such a worry, such an illness that is affecting their ability to live normally. One way, inshallah, we can treat this is by giving sadaqah in the way of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. So, we know the fadail of giving sadaqah. Now we should ask ourselves, how much sadaqah have I given, or how much charity have I given to these Muslim brothers and sisters who are suffering? And inshallah, if you haven't already, then make the intention to do so in any way that you can. Also, we know the fadail of making dua for them, making dua for our Muslim brothers and sisters and children. Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam said, "Ad-du'a'u silahul mu'min." That the dua, this is the weapon of the believer. Each and every single one of us have a weapon that we can use. And this doesn't cost any money, this doesn't cost any pound or penny. We can all make dua to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to help and to support our Muslim brothers, to remove all of the difficulties of our Muslim brothers and sisters in Palestine, in Syria, and all of our Muslim countries. And this is another thing that we should do. Also, we should, through our aqwal, through our statements, through what we say, we should support our Muslim brothers and sisters and children. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in the summary that whoever sees any evil, he should change it with his hand. And if he is not able to change it with his hand, then he should say that it is wrong. He should change it with his tongue. And if he is not able to change it with his tongue, then he should at least feel that it's bad in his heart, and this is the lowest level in Iman. So if we are able to change something with our tongue, if we are able to say something is wrong, we should also do this. We can take to public platforms, we can take to social media, and we can outright condemn any atrocities or oppression that is happening. We should use the social media platforms that we have, or any public social platforms that we have, any social gatherings that we have, and we should speak in favor of the Muslims in Palestine. We should support our Muslim brothers and sisters in Palestine through our statements. We should show unity and strengthen this. This, inshallah, will develop the passion to support them in our society and in our communities. So these are some of the things that we can do, inshallah, to improve our situation. Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam said, "Khairun nasi man yanfa'un nas." That the best of mankind is the one who benefits mankind. We should be people who benefit others. We should be people who provide benefit to our other Muslims. And inshallah we'll be rewarded in this world and in the hereafter. Now, to hear about some of the fadail of Palestine and Syria, which is known as Syro-Palestine, inshallah we'll hear some fadail, some virtues of Palestine and Syria. As we know, Allah Almighty, He mentions Masjid al-Aqsa by name in the Quran. Allah Ta'ala, He mentions Masjid al-Haram and Masjid al-Aqsa by name in the Quran. So the fact that Allah Azza wa Jal, He mentions the blessed Masjid of Aqsa in the Quran, this is enough to show its magnificence and importance. This is enough to show its importance to us in Islam, when our Rabb, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, the all-hearing, He mentioned the name Masjid al-Aqsa in the Quran itself. And then Allah Azza wa Jal, He mentions Barakna hawlahu, that we put barakah in its surroundings. Allah Azza wa Jal, He says that we put barakah in the surroundings of Masjid al-Aqsa. Around Masjid al-Aqsa there is barakah. In this blessed city, in this blessed country, in Palestine, there is barakah from Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. So we should go and visit there, inshallah. Once the situation improves, everyone should make the intention to go and visit this blessed country, inshallah. And also, this is the same land that kissed the blessed feet of the Anbiya. This is the same land that kiss the blessed feet of all of the prophets of Allah Ta'ala. As we know, Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Imam al-Anbiya, he led all of the prophets in salat on the night of Isra wal Mi'raj. On the night of the ascension and the travel Isra wal Mi'raj, then all of the Anbiya, they all presented themselves, they all came to Palestine, they all came to Masjid al-Aqsa, and they all prayed salah. All of the Anbiya, they prayed behind Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu, Imam al-Anbiya sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and all of the other Anbiya, they all prayed together in Masjid al-Aqsa. This is also enough to show the importance of this blessed masjid. Palestine is a country, is a place of knowledge and ilm. Many ulama have traveled there, many ulama have been there. This is a great, great place for us in Islam, a very important place for us in Islam. And also Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he mentioned to show the importance of these masajid. It isn't only limited. Some people have a misconception about this hadith and they feel that it is only permissible to visit these masajid, but this is to show the importance of traveling to these masajid, to emphasize, to show the importance of going to these masajid. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that you should travel only to 3 masajid. And this is Masjid al-Haram in Makkah al-Mukarramah, in Masjid al-Nabawi, in Madinah al-Munawwara, and to Masjid al-Aqsa. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us to visit Masjid al-Aqsa. He told us to visit this blessed masjid. So this also shows the importance of Masjid al-Aqsa and also of Palestine. When it comes to Syria, then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam himself, he traveled to Syria, subhanallah. This is also enough to show the importance of this blessed country. That the best of all creation, the final prophet Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he traveled to Syria and he blessed Syria with his blessed presence. Also Syria is known to be a country of ilm. Even Sayyidina Abu Darda radiallahu anhu, he would teach in the Grand Umayyad Masjid. He would teach ilm in the Grand Umayyad Masjid. There are many virtues of Palestine and Syria. That, for those who know, Sayyidina Isa ala nabiyina wa alayhi salatu wasalam, when he will return back to the earth, then he will return back to Syria. He will return upon the mimbar, the minar of the Grand Umayyad Masjid. The Grand Umayyad Masjid is a very, very famous masjid in Syria, and as I mentioned, Sayyidina Abu Darda was a Sahabi of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He would teach gatherings of knowledge, gatherings of ilm in this Grand Umayyad Masjid. So in the final times, after Imam Mahdi radiallahu ta'ala anhu appears, Sayyidina Imam Mahdi radiallahu anhu, he will come out in battle to confront and battle the Dajjal. So Dajjal, he will cause many problems in his time. He will cause many fitan. He will say that in one of his hands, he will show one of his hands and he will say that this is his fire, this is his Jahannam. Well, in fact, this will be Al-Jannah, this will be the Jannah, this will be a paradise. Then he will say in one of his hands, this is his paradise. Well, in fact, this will be the fire, the hellfire. So the Muslimin, they will run towards his fire, when in fact it will be a Jannah. And the kuffar, they will run towards his Jannah, when in fact they will go and burn in a fire. So Dajjal will cause many fitan, many tribulations in his time. And the ulama mentioned, just to summarize, that one time in Al-Madinah al-Munawwara, Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was with his Sahaba Ikram. Then Sayyidina Tamim al-Dari radiallahu anhu, he presented himself in the Baragah, in the blessed court of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And he humbly said that, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, a very unique event happened to me. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ordered Sayyidina Tamim al-Dari to explain his story, what happened to him, to the Sahaba Ikram. So then Sayyidina Tamim al-Dari, who was a Sahabi of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he mentioned that he was traveling by boat. Then because of the wind and because of the circumstances of the sea, then it became very dangerous. And they felt like they were going to fall into the water, fall into the ocean. There was much storm, there was a lot of winds, so they felt like they were going to fall. So then the wind was blowing from side to side, and they managed to control the boat, and they went to an unknown island. They stopped at an unknown island and stopped their boat there. So when they came off this boat, Sayyidina Tamim al-Dari radiallahu anhu and his companions, the people that were with him, then they went there, they spent some time there, and then they came across a creature, and it's mentioned in the hadith in Arabic. It's mentioned in the hadith in Arabic. Sayyidina Tamim al-Dari radiallahu anhu, he said, Ma anta. He didn't say man anta. He said ma anta. That what are you? He didn't say who are you. Because this creature, he was so hairy that they couldn't tell his front from his back. This creature, he was so hairy that they couldn't tell his front side from his back side. They couldn't tell what was the front of his body, they couldn't tell what was the back of his body. This is how hairy he was. And this was known as one of the creatures of the earth. Then this creature, he said to Sayyidina Tamim al-Dari and the people that were with him, that I am jasus, I am the jasus, I am the spy. And he said, there's someone waiting for you in the monastery. So Sayyidina Tamim al-Dari radiallahu anhu, just to summarize, very, very lengthy hadith, just to summarize a quick few points. So Sayyidina Tamim al-Dari radiallahu anhu, he went to the monastery and he saw a creature or some sort of being tied up, and its body was shackled in the monastery, severely shackled, tied up in chains, and his hands were tied to his neck. His hands were tied to his neck. And he would shake so violently, he would move his body so violently that despite his hands being tied to his neck, his hands were able to touch his thighs. This is how severely he was shaking. Then he said, are you the companions of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Even this creature, he knows our Prophet, our final Prophet Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, subhanallah. Then he asked some questions, he spoke to Sayyidina Tamim al-Dari and the people that were with him. Then eventually he said, I am Dajjal. He said, I am Dajjal. And he said that I will not be able to enter Tayba. I will not be able to enter Madinatul Munawwarah. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he heard this, Rasulullah, he took his blessed staff and he put it on the earth. He tapped it on the earth and he said, Hadihi Tayba, Hadihi Tayba, Hadihi Tayba. This is Tayba, this is Tayba, this is Tayba, this is Madinatul Munawwarah. This is the same Medina that the Dajjal will not be able to enter. So, when the Dajjal is causing his fitna in the end of times, then Sayyidina Imam Mahdi, he will also be there to fight the Dajjal. Just to summarize very quickly, then the Dajjal, he will come to the Grand Umayyad Masjid, and then Sayyidina Isa, he will descend upon the mimbar, one of the minar of the Grand Umayyad Masjid. He will descend with wet hair on the wings of two angels. Sayyidina Isa, he will come back to earth, because he has not physically left this world. Allah Ta'ala rose him, Rafa Allahu ila sama. Allah rose him to the skies. So when he comes back onto the earth physically, his hair will be wet, and he will come on the wings of two angels, and he will smell very beautifully. And then the muazzin, he would have already called the iqamah for the salah, and Sayyidina Imam Mahdi, he will humbly say, oh my master, oh Isa, you lead the salah, please you lead the salah. And Sayyidina Isa, he will say, the iqamah was called for you, it was recited for you, you lead the salah. Then because of the blessed fragrance of Sayyidina Isa ala nabina wa alayhi salatu wasalam, the Dajjal will come to fight Imam Mahdi, but he will smell the Dajjal and he will dissolve like salt. The ulama say the Dajjal, he will dissolve like salt. So this will take place in Syria, in the Grand Umayyad Masjid. So this shows the importance of Syria. So everyone please make dua for Palestine and Syria. So sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Everyone please perform your sunnahs.